What's good, everyone? You're listening to WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. We're a student-run nonprofit radio station based out of North Carolina State University. I'm DJ Lucid, and this is Off the Record. Here with me today are the very talented members of the band Hiding Places. I'm so glad I get to chat with you guys over the phone today. Why don't we do some introductions?
Oh, you're awesome. I am Audrey Keelan. I play guitar and sing in Hiding Places and write songs by myself and with the members of Hiding Places. Yeah, very excited to be on the radio waves.
Awesome. My name is Henry Cutting. I play drums in Hiding Places, and I'm also the Pisces of the band. Audrey, let me know that. And I'm excited to be talking on the record on Off the Record. Felt good.
Right.
Felt good to say that.
Yeah, I'm Nicholas Byrne. I play guitar and songwrite and mix sometimes and hang out with these two. Yeah, so we're excited to be talking with you. Henry and I are in Bushwick in Brooklyn right now, and it looks like Audrey is in the car.
Yeah, I'm in
There's
my
also
car.
some good stories about related to the band and shows and artwork and that kind of thing.
Yeah. This has been an icon in the band's history. My art car painted like it looks like a topographic map. So
So you guys are located all over the place right now.
yes, yeah, I live in Carborough, and I am probably moving to New York within the next 2 months. Probably, yeah, within the next 2 months. But yeah, they've lived in New York for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
A few years, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys meeting with me today. Where are you guys from originally?
Where are we from originally? We're kind of a collage of places, like the South. We are from like the Southeast, but yeah, I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, and moved to Chapel Hill for school in 2019. And that's where I met these people.
Nice. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, originally. And then I went to school at Chapel Hill also, which is where I met these cats.
Yeah, and I'm from Athens, Georgia, and then went to Chapel Hill. So yeah, I mean, it's been really cool to have, I think, all these different influences in the band, but it is every time someone asks us like where we're from or where we're based, the answer is long. And I think it's also really influenced our songs in a cool way where it's like we have multiple writers in the band. Audrey and I write songs. And I think our songs are influenced by place. We talk a lot about, actually, we haven't talked about this more recently, but we used to talk about how nature was really influencing our songwriting. And I've realized, since I've been in the city, that the city has also influenced songwriting as far as the kinds of sounds that I'm attracted to, or the kind of music I listen to when I'm walking through the city versus driving in my car, that kind of. So I think it's really interesting that we do have all like place is influencing our songwriting through the eyes of multiple members of the band.
Yeah, that's so interesting because like I feel like for a long time I've made music that feels like you would want to play it when you're driving like through the mountains or something like that, because that was like the main way that I listened to music growing up and when I first started like recording music and writing music. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like I lived in London for like 6-ish months and then returned for a while and then left and then returned for a while again. And it was like when I was there, I felt more called to listen to like darker, like more moody, like city kind of music. So maybe that's something that's happening to all of us right now. It's really cool that it's combining a little bit.
Yeah, so you guys just recently kind of went back to your roots at Chapel Hill performing at Cat's Cradle, right?
Yeah.
And how was
With
that?
my sister Mora. It was awesome. It was so sweet. It was very like awesome to be able to play the back room, like the Cat's Cradle back room, because I've never played that room before, and everyone who works there is just so sweet and like it felt really relaxing. I think this is also speaking to the city versus like small town kind of culture of like, I think there have been shows that we've played in New York that have felt stressful or rushed or really awkward because most people feel like probably exploited and like overworked in New York because it's just a hard place to live.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, like playing here was cool because it was the place where we all met, and also playing here was cool because it felt extremely relaxed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We
That's
also
not to say that there are like extremely chill people in New York, because I know there are, but
two of them
yeah.
right here.
Yeah, come on.
We also shout out to Cat's Cradle and the folks over there because we did receive a full bag of Carburitos flour tortilla chips, which are my favorite kinds, and large queso and large salsa of every variety. And the Chipotle one's my favorite. So that was probably like my favorite show we played.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're still in my fridge getting like gross right now.
Oh,
So I need to throw them away. Well, because you eat the chips, like you finish the chips before you finish the salsa usually, you know.
Well, thank you, Cat's Cradle.
That was a funny one because we've been playing shows every couple months in New York, just at all the different venues across Brooklyn and Manhattan. And in New York, a lot of the venues, and in London too, they backline amps and they backline drum kit. So you show up and there's, a couple amps to choose from. And then we got to Cat's Cradle back room when we got there, and we were like, wait, where are the amps? Like, they don't have amps here. And then we called a friend who was on the way back from band practice, and like, they were at the venue with an amp, like in a matter of like literally under 10 minutes.
Yeah,
wow.
it was amazing. Yeah, shout out to Riley Milburn. He makes music under the name With Love.
All right. So, one thing I'm always curious about when I'm meeting bands is what's the origin behind the name Hiding Places? Who came up with that?
Great question. I love that question. It was very collective. It was a very belabored process to find a band name. We literally, I have a list actually on my computer that I came across the other day of like probably 200 possible band names that I took off of the Criterion Collection website because just like based on like random like art house movies, and that is an example of a bunch of possibilities of names that we thought about before we decided on Hiding Places. But we kind of boiled it down to a few different possibilities, one of which was Secret Places, one of which was Hiding Places, and I don't remember the other ones, but I know, Henry, that you remember the other ones. So what are the other ones again?
I forgot.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't forget. But Secret Places just sounds so nefarious. I'm glad we didn't choose that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Sounds mischievous. But no, I really liked Group Hug. But the problem with that one was it's very similar to the band Group Love.
Yeah.
And even though they're not as poppin' anymore, it still felt wrong. But I think like the intent behind choosing the name was to represent kind of like the softness of softness and intimacy of the music, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it was also like Audrey and I first got together, and I think we were messaging Henry around like December 2020. And so I think it was still kind of pandemic mind where we were like, you'd have your places that you'd go to, or it's like your room or like your porch or the trail down the street. So I think that like maybe we were thinking about place in the way that we were talking about it earlier. But I think it was like a time where it was like kind of like you're hiding out. So I don't know, there might be that influence in the name, as well as it just being like a name that I think feels kind of mysterious in a way where it's like it can be interpreted. I don't know. It's hard to find a band name that another band hasn't used.
Yeah.
And that was part of the checklist as far as like, there's a vibe check on a band name. You're like, does it pass the vibe check? The Spotify search is like, is there another band who already has the name?
Yeah.
And we were surprised that there wasn't another Hiding Places. I actually think there was a band in the 80s. The name Hiding Places. If you Google it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they last very long. Maybe they released like a couple songs.
Did we outlive them?
Might have outlived them.
No.
I mean, like, outlive the band name, not outlive the people. I don't know about that one. Henry, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say, dudes be like, I know a spot, and bring you to their hiding place.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is also like what influenced the name for me, because like it's very I know a spot. It's very I know a spot energy. Like I think that something that I've really noticed is I'm so obsessed with the like feeling of finding a place where you can be alone or with like only a few other people that feels like it's literally another dimension and like hidden away from the world. Like ever since I was a child, I would always have these dreams about secret rooms in houses, and like that was just such a thing I was obsessed with. And then when we decided on the band name, I remember I was living in Arizona for like 6 months during the pandemic, and me and my housemates would it was very much like what Nicholas was saying. You know, we had our like living room that we hung out in, we had our rooms, and we had the outdoor spaces we existed in. And then there was this place down the road that I would always bike to in the mornings and like journal and like write like little phrases or like things that would eventually become songs, or read in that little like weird secret little place that felt like it was just for me. But it was like the middle of a road that was intended to be a road when it was built, but then became like just a piece of like pavement. But yeah, I'm really interested though in like the feeling of being alone in like a secret place that is tucked away from the world. And I feel like that is what songwriting is for me, because it's like the place that I go to like recharge and to like reflect and like heal. And that's like that can only really be done with myself a lot of times. I think there's like a kind of a pace that gives me that can only really be done with myself. Yeah, I'm still really exploring it though, and I think that I'm really happy that we named the band Hiding Places, because that is like it holds so many concepts that are like so meaningful to me, you know.
Yeah.
Lucy, have you thought about what you would name your band, if yet, or do you have a band?
No, I'm not in a band. That's why I live vicariously through you guys. And you guys have been working together for over a couple of years, a few years now. Is that right?
Coming up on 3 years.
Coming up on 3
Yeah.
years. Wow.
That's so awesome.
How did you guys meet and come together as a band? How did that happen?
I mean, it was all through the radio station, WXYC 89.3 FM, Chapel Hill. I met Henry through my friend Eleanor, who was the station manager at the time at our house. Remember, he came by and like just chilled after coming back from studying abroad in Copenhagen.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
it was a morning after a Four Loko for me, so I was pretty vulnerable with them. So me and Nick hit it off pretty quick. Yeah, like, God. And then I also met Audrey through the email listserv at XYC. I was throwing parties at the time. This party series was called Office Hours, and we did a bunch of events in like 2019. And we were looking for a photographer to like come and take photos at the event. And I sent out an email on the listserv, and like under 5 minutes, Audrey responded like, "Hey, I can be there." Like, and I just remember like, I wish I had the email. It'd be great to pull up.
Wait, I'll try to find it right now.
Try to find it, because I'm pretty sure there were like a lot of exclamation points. Of
course there were.
Yeah, so nothing has changed. But yeah, I mean, I remember then checking out Audrey's work and then just being like, well, now we're working with the best photographer that I know at UNC. So That was kind of my first introduction to Audrey and the work and their work that they do. Audrey does beautiful portraits in the music scene and the extended art scene. So that was kind of my introduction to Audrey's work. I think we actually met though. No, we met at the parties, but then there was also the one at Duke Coffee House where there was like we were shared a tequila Red Bull or something like that. Something.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, okay. So the email, I actually texted you because in your email you said, "Hey friends, first of all, you should totally come dance yo ass off at Nightlight tonight. It's gonna be super pop slap bangers from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and 18 plus 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 plus. We are looking for a photographer to help shoot some of the sets tonight. Text me at number if you are interested, or I have a friend who's interested." So I'm gonna try to find our texts, which
I guess while Audrey's doing that, I met Audrey also through the radio station. I was the outreach coordinator and like community manager in 2019, and Audrey had just joined the station, and I was like, this person is already building community around themselves everywhere they go, so I would like to work with them. So we do house parties and shows at like Cat's Cradle and stuff, and then the pandemic hit. So after I graduated, I moved with Nick back to Athens, Georgia. And we were just kind of like messing around on this farm that his family has, messing around with music.
with music.
And then Nicholas one day was like, "You know this person Audrey?" And I was like, "Shut up, of course I know Audrey." And Nick was like, "They sent me their songs and they rule." So then I laid down some drums on some stuff they had recorded, and then it was kind of like, this is a pretty good fit. We should try to make this something.
Yeah, I love your recounting of that story. Is literally perfect.
So you guys kind of met through like the college radio. How does it feel to be on the receiving end of the mic?
Literally awesome. I also feel like, okay, I need you to give me some insight on this, because I heard that there has been sort of like maybe this is another radio station, but like historical tension between WKNC and WXYC. Is that true?
Well, I think that Chapel Hill and State have historical tension in general, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, well, I feel like we're like sort of like Romeo and Julieting this interview, you know?
I know.
When I was younger at Chapel Hill, there was a like annual kickball competition.
Oh, wow.
2 radio stations.
It's back.
It's back.
It's back. No, and what? I like to think that my regime, like my leadership class, was kind of like a bridge presidency almost. Like we mended a lot of those tensions and hard feelings, I like to think.
Well, look at you, we're still doing it now.
Wow, you've known each other for so long and you work so well together. How does that incorporate to your writing process? Would you say it's more divided lyricism and instrumental, or is it more collaborative?
I think we just do literally so much. Like when we're together, we record like 10 songs, and we, place emphasis on like 3, 4, or 5 of them when we are recording. But sometimes we place emphasis on more, and like I think it's just like we have this obsessive mentality with music. Like it's just all of our lives, and it's something that we all want to do forever. So I think we just like we just do so much, so something breaks through always. And I feel like we all are so obsessed with it, so that's our work style is like, because there's so much, we all put so much in, we connect. There's always going to be something that we connect on.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of other ways too. I feel like we have really good work ethics, like all of us.
Yeah, I feel like also the way that we work together is always evolving, and I think that it will continue to evolve too.
Yeah.
I feel like part of just like the cooperative nature of being in a band is like learning to like evolve and like watching and space for other people to evolve as well. So I think that like we exercise patience, you know, to as much as we can.
Yeah.
I think it's also like it's a like, you know, as Audrey was talking about earlier, like the songwriting process, it can be like really personal. So I think it's and then the opening up and sharing that with the other members of the band is a similar moment of, you know, converting your introverted self a group setting, and then finding ways to for each of us to pour ourselves into whatever the project is, and kind of figuring out like on a song basis or a project basis, like what you know, what form the work is going to take. So I think it's, yeah, I really enjoy working with you both, Henry and Audrey. Because
Thank
of that.
you.
Like, I mean, it's really like, it's cool. And I think it's difficult. I think it's like, yeah, part of each of our stories of growing as artists.
Yeah. And we are so committed to each other also. It's so awesome. Like I feel like something that I have learned about being in a band is that it's unlike any other kind of relationship that I have ever had in my life and that I will ever have in my life. And it requires so much commitment, and like I just feel like I've learned so much about commitment from these people too.
Just going off like the romantic relationship that we kind of all have with each other, it's really important to kind of like
someone had to say it, romantic.
I mean, have you seen this? But it's important to block out time when we are together, because obviously we aren't very often, to do like silly things that are outside of music, like on a hike, or like, I mean, me and Nick live together, so we get a lot of time to kind of like do non-hiding places stuff, but it's important to be goofy and get away from the intensity of writing.
Yeah. And I also feel like a lot of my, like, I think I have learned about myself a lot through you, Henry, and Nicholas, and also working with Anthony, who used to be the bassist of Hiding Places. Like, I feel like there are a lot of parts of me that just have like blossomed and grown because I've had access to the parts of you all that like show me those parts of myself, you know?
And I think like, I don't know if you've noticed this about like lyrics, Audrey, but like, I feel like, I mean, it's certainly with like the name of the band too, but like songs and their meaning like reveal themselves over time. I think as well. Like on different time scales too. Like, you know, sometimes I'll write something and then listen to it a month later and be like, after I've done some kind of internal mental growth or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh wow, like I was really on the verge of realizing this thing that I have now realized and like kind of actualized. So I feel like there's depth to it as well. Like when you like look back into our catalog and like read the lyrics that we wrote, or the kinds of the songs, the kinds of energies that we were attracted to and making, they continue to resonate or like reveal part of our story. Continue to, which I think is really cool.
Yes, and the way that like FCC, the way that making music and songwriting is a time traveling experience, I think, is really magical, because it feels like when I'm writing a song, there is like a future version of me that's coming out, and sometimes there's a past version of me that's coming out, and sometimes I just feel extremely in the present. Like, it's very interesting, and then also like being able to listen to that later is really crazy and cool as well. So it's like, it's just so awesome. It's like, it's very growth core, you know?
Yeah, you were talking about like your meaning changing. Your sound changes a lot too. You guys have a lot of range. Like, I would say some of your songs kind of have like a rock vibe, some of them have like indie. How would you guys describe your sound personally?
Well, we've come to the phrase, or to the description / genre of folk grunge, which I think is kind of accurate, because for me, it captures the fact that I am, and I feel like we are very inspired by like folk music, specifically just like from growing up in the South and like witnessing like bluegrass and like just Appalachian music, like but also we are really interested in like 90s music and like grunge and that like more like gritty, like angry, emotive like aspect. And I love using like folk song like structure. Like I feel like a lot of our songs just have like a verse and then an instrumental chorus and then another verse, which is like very folk song core, you know? But yeah. What about y'all?
Anything then?
I like folk grunge. Lately, when we've been sending our music out to people, I say music band. They're not always. That's not always. Could be just one person.
Yeah,
And it's not a podcast.
it's not a podcast. We've also, I don't know, I came up with this, I think, the other day. Sulk rock also
Oh
maybe.
yeah. That's really, you came up with that?
I think I came up with it. Like
Bruh.
I looked it up and you can look it up. Let's see. It could have been from someone else and
No, I believe you. That's just so awesome. That's literally so awesome.
but yeah, I feel like sometimes we lean into sulk vibes where it's like there's kind of it feels happy to play sad sounding music.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, we like artists like Jason Molina and Elliott Smith and those I feel like that's kind of like sulk
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, that is so good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
It's like it's emo in a way.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about that last week, Audrey, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that honoring my emo phase, like the part of me that is that was emo and is still emo is so important to me. Like, yeah. Yeah, part of it is emo, I think, as well.
Like emo melodies, I think.
Yes, and harmonies.
Yeah. So there are a lot of influences, and I think it's we've been a band for 3 years and are putting out our third EP this coming year with our first single coming out on December 1st. And so I think that we've been figuring out our sound and expanding our influences through each other.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the
Yeah.
album sounds like.
Let's talk about that. You guys are coming out with a new project called Crown of Tin. Is that your new single?
Yeah.
What's the inspiration behind that?
I wrote it when I was in my first year of college. It was my first semester of college, and I was learning GarageBand for the first time and really just writing songs alone for the first time. And that was just a sort of diary entry about how I was feeling homesick and like detached from like the community that raised me, and feeling like isolated in college and just like the weird experience of college. And then yeah, that was the first song I ever sent to Nicholas to show him what my music was like. And yeah, it's like I wrote that before Hiding Places was even a thing. I used to put out music under the name Tidy. But yeah, and so I think it's like really exciting to be releasing this song with like my voice on that recording is from when I was like 18, from when I wrote the song, like from that was like the original demo, and we just sort of added to it with recordings that we did over time. And we've recorded the song so many times, like in so many different iterations throughout the past 3 years, and I'm so excited to be releasing it and so happy that we're using a lot of the audio from when I was recording it. Something that's really cool about it too is that the person who like mixed the song is a part of that community that I missed when I was 19. His name is Colin Miller, and he's so awesome. He makes his own music, and he is just such a important part of the Asheville music scene. So I'm like really lucky that he's spending time with our music in the way that he is. sort of honoring that part of myself who was so inspired by him when I was so young, or, younger than I am now. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to hear it. And I think on that note, we're going to take a short break to play y'all Crown of Tin by none other than Hiding Places, coming out December 1st. So we'll be right back. That was Crown of Tin by Hiding Places, currently unreleased, so make sure to check it out on December 1st. Now we got to talk about your performances, guys. Do you have anything big coming up in particular?
No.
We're kind of in a hibernation season right now while we're releasing music, but then we're planning on touring a bunch early next year when our upcoming EP is fully out.
Yeah, we're playing this music festival in New York called
New Colossus.
New Colossus. Such a cool name. In March, but that's really the only thing that we have. Like, I'm playing a set with my friend Grace on fiddle and my friend Sophie on mandolin at Ruby's on 5 Points in Durham. opening for H. Pruse, who is a person who we played with a while ago, and a band called Dead Oceans, and then there's going to be another local act playing as well. So yeah, I think that'll be a really fun time. I've just been doing solo sets and like sets with, sparser instrumentation, but playing Hiding Places songs still. But yeah, we don't really have any shows coming up that are like full band, but if you want to hear our songs with wonky instrumentation, you can come to Ruby's on 5 Points in Durham on the 4th of December.
That's great. When was your last performance? It was fairly recently, right?
Yeah, I was in Wilmington. We
We played
played
the Fuzzy Needle, which
Yeah.
is a really cool record and bookstore in downtown Wilmington. Probably the coolest store in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Check it out. It was very intimate. It's kind of set up like a living room. It's like a lot of
Yeah.
lights and warm lighting and couches and stuff. So it was cool to play. It was my first hometown show with Hiding Places, so it was cool to show all of my friends and family the band. Because not that our audience is all friends and family. It's not. So that was a really cool one. Yeah. Good, always good to play in Wilmington, Asheville, and Chapel Hill. Hometown.
That's
venue.
right.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
Yeah, first hometown performance. Why don't you guys tell us about your first performance as a band?
Oof. We played in Athens, Georgia. I'm not sure. It was probably 2021 at Flickr, which is kind of the hub of the like alt music scene in Athens. And I don't think it was too eventful, but there were some videos recorded of it. It was our first show, and there's this guy who I'm forgetting his name, but he's kind of a legend in the Athens music scene because he just goes to shows probably 4 or 5 nights a week and just films the entire sets and then uploads it to YouTube. So you can go see our first set.
Yeah.
We don't have any other recorded on YouTube, and so I think we're like a little bit we're very green as performers.
Yeah, it's under Athens Live Music. But maybe just listen on Spotify.
Yeah, check out Spotify.
Yeah, there are some unreleased songs live though on YouTube that this person recorded, which is really cool. The fact that like that is those audio waves are on the internet in some capacity, even though it's like, some songs that maybe we won't even release ever. I don't know, but yeah, it was extremely fun. Yeah, so and it was a hometown show at the same time for Nicholas, at least.
So, speaking of your unreleased music, before we close off, we are going to be playing you guys one more song by Hiding Places coming out in January 2024 called After Image. Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a song that started as a demo that I made and then grew into a song with the full band. And yeah, I believe it was probably December 2021 or 2020. Yeah, December 2021 in the winter in New York, my first winter here. And I was in a graduate program getting a master's degree in lighting design. So I was thinking about light a lot and how it affects people. And I was also really depressed at the time. And I think was like kind of the first time that I was kind of hitting that level of depression. And light is also has a huge effect on like your serotonin levels in your body. And so like during the winter, like seasonal affective disorder is really real. And so it was my first winter in New York. And this song emerged from a songwriting class that we did as a band. Robin Pecknold did a School of Song course, and I think taught us techniques about visualizing images and then writing in that headspace. And so I remember looking out my window in Brooklyn at a lamp that was over someone's door and coming up with this riff, and then and then writing it. And then it grew into a cool song that we recorded in London when we visited Audrey, who was studying abroad over there at the time and getting involved in a music scene over there. And so that was a really special thing to do as a band, was, you know, travel and go over there and record the song at it was a satellite studio of Abbey Road's studios, which was really cool. What was it called? The Angel Studios?
Yeah, Angel Studios. It was so awesome. Yeah, and our friend Liam helped us out with recording, and our friend Bassett helped us out with the recording too. It was like Bassett was studying at the Abbey Road Institute for audio engineering, and he like was just letting us record at this like incredible studio where like various like scores for different films had been made. It was just like extremely special.
Florence and the Machine recorded The Dog Days Are Over there.
What? I didn't even know that.
It's true. It's on their website portfolio right next to the Lion King soundtrack.
Oh,
Whoa.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it was very special though. And when Nicholas sent it to me, I was also experiencing winter in London for the first time. So it was like extremely validating because I was in this place that was really new to me. And because, you know, of the pandemic, my experience of like studying abroad was very odd because it was just like students were awkward as hell and like didn't really want to. I think also British students just like, or at least the students that in the classes that I was taking were very set in their communities and didn't feel interested in branching out too much. So I was feeling kind of isolated, but eventually was caught by the music scene that I was a part of and made me feel really at home. So it was like this whole full circle thing of like hearing the song and feeling isolation, and then recording the song and feeling like deeply connected to people.
It's kind of an explosive song too. It starts quiet and then has a kind of a massive bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of this song.
Me too.
So why don't you guys tell our listeners where they can listen to this when it gets released?
Well, all of our songs are on Spotify.
That's right.
This song will be out early 2024, but you should check back weekly because sometimes Audrey will make just an awesome playlist full of our friends' music, and you should check it out. You can also follow us if you'd like to. There's no compulsion behind this statement. But we do have an Instagram, and it's at Hiding Places Band. So yeah, that's where all our stuff is.
We got the updates going up over there all the time. But okay, so we collaborated with our friend John Vance, who makes the coolest clothes ever. They have this like collective slash fashion brand slash clothing line called Walla, which stands for We All Look Alike. But they are collaborating with us to make merch for every single song that drops. So when Crown of Tin drops, we will have a little denim tote bag that is Hiding Places merch that people can buy if they want to. And yeah, it's super exciting, like knowing that there's going to be this like visual element to our music other than like a music video, you know, because those are so fun. But it's also really awesome to see that like people can wear and like express themselves with stuff that is related to our music. So yeah, like when we also share After Image with the world, we will be sharing another piece of Hiding Places merch that is unique to After Image.
That's great. I'm super psyched that you guys have all these new projects coming out.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm super psyched that I got to talk to you guys about them today.
Us too. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming and talking to me.
I think the beef between Chapel Hill and NC State is now settled.
Yeah, squashed.
It's been resolved.
Consider it squashed.
Awesome.
I'm glad that we were able to resolve that, you guys. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and you can check out the interviews I do with other local artists at wknc.org/podcasts by clicking on Off the Record. I'm DJ Lucid, this is Off the Record, and you were just listening to Hiding Places on WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. I'm going to send you off with one more song by our friends called After Image that is currently unreleased, so make sure to tune in. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time.